23 CR 764. Defendant is present and represented by Nicole Novotny. Also, probation officer Nicole Newman is present. At our previous change of plea hearing on November 5th, 2024, defendant pled guilty to count 1, F5, possession of cocaine, and count 2, F3, tampering with evidence. Court ordered referrals for pre-sentence report and drug and alcohol evaluation to be completed. Both have been completed. However, the defendant never signed releases forms for probation to receive said medical records, so there are substantial missing records about his substance use disorder treatment and activity. The state's position is that the defendant has 21 days of jail time credit, 2 days for his initial arrest, July 2nd, 2024, before his release on July 3rd, 2024, and then 19 days after he was rearrested on October 27th, 2024, and then released on November 14th, 2024.
After the 2 days, he was released when?
He was in jail July 2nd to July 3rd, 2024. Then he was arrested again on October 27th, 2024, and then released by this court on November 14th, 2024. So I think it's 19 plus 2 days for a total of 21 days.
Okay.
And there is no agreed sentencing recommendation, which is going to pass. Thank you.
Your Honor, when it comes to sentencing, we would ask the court to consider community control sanctions for my client. Ultimately, he considers this case in this circumstance as a blessing in disguise. He wants to take this negative and turn it into a positive. He really has had a trouble in his life, as you can see through the pre-sentence report, that he has trouble staying sober. He has taken initiative to try to stay sober by enrolling himself in Evolve. From my understanding, with speaking with the case manager there previously, Luke, and ultimately providing the court documentation prior, he has been with Evolve, from my understanding, since April 22nd of 2024. I do not, unfortunately, which I informed you in chambers, don't have an updated letter from Evolve. It has been very hard to get a hold of the case manager, unfortunately, with that respect. But with talking with my client, what happens, and for my last conversation with the case manager, they plan to restart the whole treatment process with Michael. Ultimately, they plan to start from square one. They also provide him with supportive housing, so he does stay and be a part of Evolve. They do provide him to transportation purposes, for court purposes, as well as what he has been doing with working. Michael has been involved with home improvement for the last 15 years. I actually had a conversation with his boss prior to coming into court today. He stated he would be here, but he has a job that he had to attend to, so unfortunately was unable to make it to court today, but states that Michael is trying to be on the straight path. He has been working constantly and maintaining his sobriety the best that he can with that respect, and wanted to be here today, but unfortunately, like I informed the court, due to his current job that he's on, he was unable to be here. He does have a sponsor, Michael does. He keeps in touch with that sponsor. Ultimately, he does go, and I know he has had some fluxes with going to his mental health provider at the centers, but he does have the centers as a support system for his mental health with that respect.
I don't know what Evolve is, and I don't know what the centers is. Go ahead.
With that respect, Your Honor, we would just ask the court to consider any community control sanctions.
What's Evolve?
Evolved behavior, it's a rehab center. They do classes and stuff, PHP, IOP, aftercare. They help you with housing afterwards. They help you with going to the doctors.
Where is Evolve?
It's in Middleburg Heights.
What is it? What is the physical structure of Evolve?
It's like okay, so they have houses, and then you live in it, and then they take you back and forth.
Back and forth to what?
To the center, to where the classes are, and then
What kind of classes?
The IOP and the PHP and the one-on-one counseling.
And then what do you do?
Then we go to meetings 6 days a week. We have chores we have to do.
Where were you from July 3rd until October 27th? July 3rd of 2023 till October 27th of 2024.
So I've been with, okay, yeah. I've been with Evolve.
What?
I've been with Evolve for
Did he
that
miss a
long.
court date or something, Mr. Hurd?
Yes, I believe he failed to appear in this matter. Let me check 1 second.
Yes, he did fail to appear in 2023, but there's notes from the previous attorney on this case that ultimately there is a mishap with communication with Evolve and transportation.
All right. What does that mean? What does that mean? You got arrested on July 2nd, you bonded out on July 3rd, and you never showed up for anything. So what was the miscommunication? And when was the miscommunication? How did a miscommunication occur with Evolve?
So I was at Evolve, and I had a.
When? When did you go to Evolve?
I went to Evolve probably about a week or two after I got arrested the first time. I really wanted to get sober anyways. I really want to get sober, you know. So
Why didn't you show up to court?
well, I was at Evolve and I didn't know what days.
Why didn't you find out what days? I mean, you're an experienced guy with the criminal justice system, right? You knew that you had a court date after you bonded out, right?
Yes.
Why didn't you bother to find out when the court date was?
Well, I showed up one time, and then I
When?
couldn't.
When?
The first time I actually was still in Menor, and I walked there.
Okay.
Um,
And then when you showed up in court, you were given another date to show up,
Yes.
right? Why didn't you show up for that one?
I had a lot going on. I guess I didn't. Yes, everything was confusing to me. I was
Well,
in.
you
I
didn't
was
show
in,
up. You didn't show up because you didn't want to show up.
Well, no, I was trying to get a hold of. I had caseworkers working on it and everything.
But it's not the caseworker's case. It's your case.
Yes.
You're the one that is charged. You're the one that had to be there because you were out on bond. And you knew that if you didn't show up, your bond would get revoked, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you didn't show up on the date you were supposed to show up on. And then you didn't show up to anything after that. How did you get arrested in October?
There was a girl that was in my car trying to jump out of the car on the freeway, and I took her to the hospital, and I didn't have a license when I was driving.
Okay. Why haven't you signed a release for Miss Newman to get your records from this Evolve place?
I was planning on leaving Evolve because I wanted to start over and go to a different facility, and then I went back to, because it was in the process of me changing treatment centers, and
From where?
Evolve to Stella Maris.
Okay, when was that?
That was right around the time that she asked me. I was trying to switch places, and
Okay. Is that your recollection, Miss Newman?
Your Honor, this is the first that I'm hearing about it. When I spoke to him on the phone, he was still at Evolve, and I asked him to
Yes.
sign the release because ours were not valid, they would not accept them. And
Okay.
he told me he would.
And why didn't you?
because I didn't go back, I was planning on going to a different facility.
You were planning on going.
I was trying to go to Stella's. I was talking to them.
Okay, but you didn't.
No, I didn't. They didn't have a bed, so I went. I want to go. I'm going back to. I went back to Evolve.
So why didn't you sign the release when you found out Stella didn't have a bed?
I have no excuse. No.
I know you have no excuse. But the question was, why didn't you do it?
I mean, it's not even. I'll do it. I mean, it's just messed up. I haven't been doing my.
You've been a lousy performer on probation over the years, haven't you?
I would say.
Okay. So you were supposed to was that a phone interview you were supposed to do with Jan, Nicole?
Your Honor.
Okay. You're supposed to do a phone interview and you blew that off for a while and eventually did it, right?
Which one was that?
To go to,
Neocab.
Neocamp, yeah.
Okay, you blew that off for a while and then finally got on the phone with her, right?
Well,
No?
I mean, I had a good conversation with her, I thought.
What happened with that contact, Nicole?
Your Honor, Jan set up an appointment to meet with him at noon, and when she called him at noon, he never answered the phone. It took her calling multiple times until he finally answered about an hour, hour and a half later.
Okay. And what did you tell Jan when she talked to you?
Well, whatever she asked me,
Did you ask her anything?
Probably, I mean, we talked for a long time.
Do you recall what you asked her?
No, not really.
Nicole, do you know what he asked Jan?
Well, he had asked me what to say in order to get out of going to the
Oh.
Why did you ask her that?
Because I didn't want to be taken away from, my support group, my sponsor.
What support group?
Huh?
What support group?
All my AA family.
How do I know any of this is true?
Well, I could make phone calls, but I mean, I have a page and a half.
How do I know you went to Evolve? How do I know what you did at Evolve? How do I know how often you participate at Evolve? What do I know about the centers?
It's my doctors.
Okay, I don't know anything about it because we don't have any records. Because you won't sign releases.
Oh,
When's the
I'm
last
fine.
time you went to the centers?
Probably about a couple weeks before I went to jail. And I missed all my appointments while I was in jail.
So you were going to all your appointments at the centers before that?
I was probably missing some every once in a
Why?
while. Why? Because of work or something. I put work in front of a lot of things.
Well, don't you think, based on your record, that you ought to put work second to trying to get your act together and stay sober and stay out of jail and stay out of prison?
Yes.
I mean, your way hasn't worked very well, has it?
Facts.
Huh?
True, yes.
Okay. What do we know about the centers, Nicole?
Your Honor, I have no information from the centers. I can tell you that he told Jan that he has missed his appointments with his counselor, and he couldn't even provide the name until he found the business card. But he said he hasn't been going to his appointments.
So you don't even know who you were seeing there?
No, I don't.
Okay, see, I don't,
Her name, I just didn't remember her name. It was Caitlin.
what were you going to her for?
I was going to see her. She is my, my person I talk to, counselor or whatever.
For what?
Mental health or whatever, I guess.
Or whatever what? I mean, what's your diagnosis?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't remember stuff like that.
Okay, you're the guy that sits here trying to bullshit your way through to get out of as much trouble as you can get out of, to be as free as you can be, to not do anything in order to be left alone, which you did for a year and 3 months, right? Almost 4 months.
I mean, I really got sober then. I learned a lot about
You
sobriety.
got sober when? You mean you were sober from the time you went to Evolve in July of 23 until you got arrested in October of 24?
I messed up 2 times before that.
2 times, when?
I don't remember the dates. My mind don't work like that. I messed up about 6 months into it, and then again about
So
7
in
months.
January of 24, you did something? You took some drugs or something?
Yes,
And then when?
and then I stopped. It was just like a 1-day thing, and then I stopped, and then I did another 6 months, and then I messed up again.
So in July?
I couldn't tell you the dates.
Well, you said 6 months from the time you got arrested, so that brings us to January, and then you said another 6 months. That brings us to July, right?
Okay, yes.
So you only did, what drugs did you do on those 2 occasions?
One time was drinking, one time was crack.
Okay. When was the crack?
Second time.
So why did you do the crack the second time? Now, this whole discussion is premised on the fact that I'm believing what you told me. So why did you do crack that second time?
So, a friend of mine that was sober for 2 years relapsed, and I thought I was strong enough to help him. The first day I helped him, and I got him to throw away his stuff. And then the second day he got more, and I hit it once.
Why?
Because I'm an addict, I guess. I don't
But you-
know.
but
I
you-
felt
but you
so.
hadn't-
It was the worst thing I ever did because I
But
felt
in
so.
July of '24, that was the first time you had done crack in how long?
I don't know the dates. Which one was that? The second one or the first one?
The second one. You told me it was the second one.
All right. So before that, it was like a year, and when I came into Evolve,
So why all of a sudden did you start back again with the crack?
um,
After a year of not doing it?
I wish I knew.
Well,
I mean, there's no the fact that I've been doing it for so long, and it's me trying to change my way of life, and every once in a while it comes back, and I don't know, it just you can't control it sometimes, and I don't know.
well,
So
according to you, you controlled it for a year.
I did, and I was doing certain things that helped me, and then I would slowly stop doing those things one by one, and noticing that is, what I learned from that relapse.
What did you learn from the relapse?
Like, okay, so you get up, you make your bed, you do this, you got a routine, you got to start getting a routine of sober life. Because all I know is drug life, So once I get a routine going, and then I start missing something, like making my bed or doing this because I'm late. Those little things.
How long were you in Evolve when you said you went there in July of '23?
Was that when I first went there?
This is what you
Yes.
told me.
That's my first time I went there. That's the first time I ever tried to get sober.
Okay, so the question was, how long were you there the first time you went there?
We were in there from July 23 until January, and then to Summer.
Till January. I don't know dates. I'm sorry.
So you were there for 6 months?
At least
I don't suppose you have any records of that stint?
I could get down.
I do not, Your Honor.
Okay. Don't you think the records are important based on what you're telling me?
Yes.
So why don't you have them?
Um,
Why didn't you get them to her? Why did you leave Evolve then after 6 months?
when I messed up,
Which time?
the first time, I went to a different rehab then.
Where?
I went to a surgeon then.
A what?
A surgeon. It's another rehab. It's
A
on
surgeon?
A surgeon, yes.
How do you spell that?
I don't know.
I never heard of a, is that like surgeon, like a guy who cuts people?
Yeah, but it's a surgeon.
Okay, you ever heard of that?
I have not, Your Honor.
Okay, where's the surgeon?
It's on the east side.
Where on the east side?
Okay, so
Cleveland, Euclid, Menor?
the houses were on East Cleveland,
East Cleveland?
yes. Then they took us to the class, and I really couldn't tell you where that was.
And how long were you at a surgeon?
About a month and a half, and then I went to Legends,
Where's Legends?
on the east side.
You ever heard of Legends?
I have heard of Legends, but I do not know much about it.
Where on the east side?
can't remember the name. It's,
Okay, how long were you at Legends?
I was there, I did PHP, and then I did 1 week of IOP, and I was supposed to start working that week, and I hurt my knee, and I couldn't walk for 2 days, and they discharged me. That's when I went back to Evolve.
When?
After Legends, I couldn't give you a date. My mind don't work like
When
that.
in relation to the crack experience in July?
Say that one more time?
You said that you smoked crack in July of this year. Were you at Legends before that? Or
No,
after
that was okay. So I was like, Evolve, Surgeon, Legends, Evolve, and then there's when I tried to help somebody, and I
And
wasn't
then
strong
after you
enough.
did the crack, where did you go?
I stayed at Evolve.
Okay.
I asked to start IOP over when I was almost done, or a PHP over.
Okay. I mean, yours is a story not to be believed, right? Because it all depends on you telling me something and me believing it, right?
Yes.
Okay? And you've been asked to sign releases. Why do you think we need releases?
I didn't realize. I guess I didn't realize how important it was. I will sign. I
Well,
will do the release things. I guess. It's
What?
I will. I will make sure all that.
Well, it's a little late. I mean, you're here for sentencing, okay? I mean, why did I order a pre-sentence report and set this 5 weeks after your plea? Why do you think I did that?
So to get information.
To get the information. Now I'm sitting here without the information, and I don't believe you, okay? So that doesn't help you. So now what am I supposed to do with you? To let you go back to Evolve that you've been there how many times now? 3 or 4? Amongst a surgeon and Legends and the centers and maybe not Stella Maris. I mean, you're just jumping from place to place, and I don't know why. I suspect why, okay? I suspect that you're not doing what you're supposed to do, so you keep trying to find something else. So you can always say, here's what I'm gonna do, here's what I wanna do, here's what's gonna make me sober, when I don't think you got the least bit of interest in being sober.
Oh no, I do.
You've demonstrated that for your entire adult life, right?
Yes.
Okay. So why in the world would I go along with this place that I don't even know, I never heard of it before today. I don't know what it is. You go to this house and you stay at this house, but you kind of come and go as you please at the house you're staying at, right?
Not exactly. I mean,
Not exactly.
You got to leave with somebody, and you got to sign out, and there's cameras.
Once again, how do I know that? I don't. Who was your buddy you were with that you smoked crack with?
His name was Herman. He was just a person that I knew from that I got sober from the meetings. and
Herman
stuff.
who?
I don't know his last name. I mean, but I mean, he's just somebody that was a good guy, and he got off probation and went back to drugs, and I tried to help him.
Well, why did he get in contact with you? In July of 24?
It wasn't like a contact thing. It was like we seen each other. It
Where?
was, huh?
Where?
At a meeting.
Where?
104th. There's a coffee shop there. It's Rise Above
104th?
in Lorraine.
So, what did your sponsor say about that when you called him on that July day at the meeting on 104th? When you said, Herman's here and he wants to do drugs, what did you tell your sponsor?
No, I didn't actually tell him before. I told him after, and that
Why didn't you tell him before?
Because I'm still learning this. It's new. It's I mean it's something that you have to learn. It's something.
Why in the world would you want to be on probation?
Because I think I could do it. Number one.
Well, I don't think you can. I mean, you don't show up, right? You spent a year and 3 months, a year and 4 months not showing up.
I was trying to get my stuff together, and I did have. So there was a counselor at Evolve that I was working with, and she quit. And her words to me was like, "I'm sorry, I failed you," and I'm like, "Oh my God." And from there, it's like it kind of got jumped around. But I was.
She didn't fail you, right? You failed yourself.
Well,
It's not up to her to make you succeed, is it? It's not up to Evolve or the centers or a surgeon or the legends or Stella Maris to make you succeed, is it?
No, it's up to me.
Okay. So why would you tell me that what you just told me, that she said she failed you?
I don't. That's what she said. But
Well, who cares what she said? What does that mean?
right.
I mean, you're just. It's like you're sitting there with a shield, deflecting everything. The blame belongs somewhere else other than you.
No, it definitely belongs to me. I did this to my life. I'm the only one that could fix it.
And so we look for solutions to help you try to fix it, but you don't want those solutions. You want your solutions because that's where you get the most freedom and the most opportunity to do what it is you want to do rather than what you should do. That's your game.
Well, it's not a game. It's what I've been used to for my whole life.
Okay, so why don't you stop doing it?
Well-
If you don't want to keep doing it, why don't you stop doing it and stop doing things your way that don't work? Because it don't work.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to learn how to do.
Okay, so then when we try it a different way and explore NeoCap, why do you ask Nicole, what do I have to say to get out of it?
Because it's far away.
So?
It's not gonna do
Far
me.
away from what?
When I leave Neo Camp, who am I gonna know there? Who am I gonna be able to call there? When all my support is over here.
What support?
My AA support, my family. That's the family that I have, that I could call anybody at any time of the night and
When's
talk
the
to
last
them.
AA meeting you went to?
It was about a week ago.
And when's the last one before that? How often were you going?
I probably go to one, maybe two a week. I make sure I go to my home group.
And where's your home group?
It's on Trent Avenue, Pro Cop.
All right. If it's such a strong support group, why were you doing crack with a guy that you met at the meeting?
I mean, mistakes happen. I do try.
Mistakes happen.
I mean, I don't even know. I don't know.
I mean, a mistake is when you're driving and you need to take a right-hand turn, but you mistakenly take a left-hand turn, okay? Mistakes don't happen when you're at a meeting, you're offered crack and you take it. That's not a mistake, that's a conscious decision.
At that time, I didn't realize that I was powerless over drugs.
I'm looking at your record, okay? You've been powerless over drugs nearly your entire life.
Yes.
And you just realize that now? You've been to prison, what, 6 times?
Yes.
And now you're telling me you're powerless over drugs? You can't, I mean, you just can't sit here and tell me, just spout off a bunch of gobbledygook that you expect me to believe because maybe it's worked before. It doesn't look like it's worked before. You keep going to prison. So why do you do that? Instead of trying to address what the problem is, why do you do that?
I'm trying to.
No, you're not.
No, I really am.
No, you're putting in no effort in this whole thing, okay? So what is NeoCap?
What I know of it, it's like a CBCF.
Okay? How do you know anything about it?
Is that the, I mean, was it, I think I was there.
When?
Yeah, right.
Huh?
I couldn't tell you. But yeah, that there's when I was introduced to K2, I think.
You were introduced to K2 at NeoCap?
Yes.
So they're letting drugs in NeoCap?
I mean, that's where I was introduced to the K2, and I don't mean,
Hold on.
Yeah, he wasn't at NeoCap, he was sentenced.
somewhere in Youngstown, I don't know, sorry.
15 to the Nancy.
To McDonald House,
McDonald, yep.
okay,
Okay.
which was well-known flow of drugs, okay? So you weren't in NeoCap.
Okay,
So you don't know what NeoCap
I do
does.
not.
Okay, but you immediately conclude that it's not gonna be good for you because your support group won't be there. Maybe you need a different support group. How long have you had this support group in place?
I mean, ever since I got sober.
When?
I've been, you
In
know.
July of 23?
That there's when I started meeting people and starting to, like, you know,
Did-
know people. And
But in that 6 months that you were sober, according to you, did you endeavor to take care of your criminal case that was hanging out there, that you knew was hanging out there?
I knew it was here.
I know you knew it was here. Did you?
There's a
did you
lot of
try to
things I've
take
been
care
wanting
of
to
it?
do. I want to get in contact with my son. I want to call my mom. I want to see if my brother's still alive. But I don't do them things either. I work. I mean, and then I, you know, try and go to meetings, and then I don't know. I don't put things like that, and I messed up. I don't know.
You don't put things like that, what?
I like, you know, like
You
calling my
don't put a
mom.
priority on these things, right?
I don't know what priority is yet. I'm still working on that, I guess.
Okay. It's getting late in the game to not know what priority is, right?
Yes.
Okay?
Thanks.
You're not 16. You're 51. So you don't know what the priority is?
I mean, I know. I just, sometimes I don't know how to address it.
I don't think you want to address it. I think you want to go on doing what you're doing. Because really now, I don't believe that you've only drank one time and did one bit of crack since July 2nd of 23. I don't believe that.
That's true.
Man, I don't think it's true. Do you know how many months you face in prison on this charge, on this case?
A lot.
What's a lot? Do you know?
See, 12, 24, 36, 50,
48.
48.
Okay. Mr. Hurd?
Thank you, Your Honor. Between the years 2001 and 2021, the defendant has 7 prior drug-related or property crime felony convictions. He's, as the court mentioned, served a prison term on 6 different occasions. Previously, when he was on community control sanctions, he's had his probation or community control terminated and then was sentenced to prison. So on paper, he's not amenable to community control sanctions. Now in practice, he's also not amenable to community control sanctions. He's consistently inconsistent. He's admittedly bad at dates, but didn't sign any release forms for us to verify any of the dates or things he's telling the court. His bond condition given by this court on November 7th, 2024 was conditioned on him remaining at Evolved Behavioral Health on an inpatient basis.
There is no inpatient at Evolve. It's not inpatient.
And he only
It's go there and live somewhere else. It's go there and live somewhere else. So I feel a little bit deceived from the last time you were here. Go ahead, Mr. Hurd.
Thank you, Your Honors. So he went there, never inpatient wasn't even available. He started prioritizing his work over his treatment, which is the causative factor, it seems, of all of his recidivation into prison. He's missing mental health appointments. He doesn't want to answer his phone per probation officer Newman, and it's hard to reach, which is likely indicative of drug use. He said in his pre-sentence report that he relapsed 3 times in crack cocaine for 1 day each time. Now he's saying it was only twice. He is, again, prioritizing work.
No, 1 time with crack, 1 time with alcohol, so.
Okay, my apologies.
Now it turns into 3 times?
The last time. I didn't count that.
Go ahead, Mr. Hurd.
So for these reasons, we would be requesting he be sentenced to a prison term by this court. Thank you.
Why don't you have a license?
I owe $1,500 on it. I started getting warrant blocks off, and
$1,500?
yes.
I thought you'd been concentrating on working.
Why am I concentrating on working?
No, I said I thought you had been concentrating on working.
Yes.
So why haven't you paid the $1,500?
I paid 3 of them. There was a traffic light, I don't know, driving without a suspension. I don't know, I paid 3 of them, and then I was working on the other ones.
Your Honor, he has 2 outstanding warrants out of Cleveland Municipal Court, both for driving under suspended license, one from 2013 and one from 2021.
Why didn't you show up there?
I just recently found out that I had those.
You mean you didn't know you got arrested or a ticket for driving under suspension in 21 and 23? You didn't know that?
I mean, I knew I got a ticket. Oh, no, the one time I didn't even get a ticket. They sent it me in the mail,
Okay, and you didn't show up,
and I didn't show up.
because you don't like to show up. You never like to show
I
up.
do like to show up.
No, you don't.
I mean, I'm doing different things now. I'm trying to change my life.
No, you're not.
I mean, I'm trying to show up when I'm told to show up.
I mean, the only reason you're here now is because you got arrested on something unrelated in October. That's the only reason you're here. So you're not trying to show up anywhere.
Well, no, this was on my mind. I really wanted to take care of this without this being forced to be in here.
All right, I've reviewed the pre-sentence report and the drug and alcohol evaluation. I've listened to Mr. Porter, listened to counsel. I considered all the provisions in 29, 29, 11, 12, and 13. I'm gonna put you on community control for 5 years. I don't have the least bit of faith that you're gonna make it through those 5 years, that you're gonna comply with anything I'm gonna order you to comply with, okay? Because that's your history. And that is kind of your attitude in this whole case. Okay? So there's no chance you're gonna make it. Because you don't really want to make it. You want to keep on doing what you're doing. But you're going to serve 81 days in the jail with credit for 21. The last 30 days, you'll do the jail treatment program, complete it, and follow all recommendations. After that, you get into the NeoCap program, complete it, and follow the recommendations. After that, you'll spend at least 6 months in a sober living facility. You're to have no drugs or alcohol with screens. You're going to get a mental health evaluation and follow all the recommendations. You're to see only 1 doctor and 1 dentist and 1 pharmacy for prescription medication. You're to take medication only as it's prescribed. You're going to sign releases, so probation can get your records. You're going to, at the appropriate time, obtain and maintain full employment, get a valid driver's license, and pay the costs and supervision fees. And anything else, Ms. Newman?
No, Your Honor.
You understand the terms?
Yes.
Do you have any question about the terms?
Okay.
Do you have any questions about the terms?
No, sir.
If you don't comply with the terms, the state will file a motion to terminate your community control, and if I find you violated, then I'll send you to prison for 48 months. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. So you figure out what you want to do, okay? You keep telling me you want to change what you're doing. Here's your chance to change what you're doing. Now, it's not going to be real hard to figure out the best way to get kicked out of NeoCap, okay? You'll figure that out in about a day. So if you want to get kicked out of it, get kicked out of it. It's up to you. Then you'll be back. And then you'll be off for 48 months. Anything else, Mr. Hurd?
Could there be an order for him to resolve any outstanding warrants?
Nah, he's gonna have to figure that out all by himself.
Okay, and forfeiture of items, Your Honor?
It's forfeited.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ms. Novotny?